And we are rebranding this space as the hub instead of the COVID-19 hub, just so that we can really dig into so many of the issues that are happening across the food system right now, still with a lens on COVID-19 and a focus on that, but really wanting to take the time and energy to also address social justice issues across the food system, programmatic concerns, and things that are not necessarily all COVID related. So we're really excited about just being able to expand this weekly forum to be able to be more inclusive of so much of the work that we're doing across the state that is and isn't always COVID related. So I want to welcome you all today. We're really excited to have Organic Seed Alliance here with us. This is just a picture from their recent conference, one of the last events I attended in person in mid-February of 2020. So a precious time for me. I love this conference. And like I said, it was one of the last times I got to be with a large group of people and interacting face to face. So a little bit of an overview of today's hub call. We will go over the WSU Food Systems Hub, a little plug for the needs assessment tool, and then we're going to hear from Organic Seed Alliance with Cara, Loriz, the executive director, and Micaela Colley, the program director. And we also have Linda McLean, the WSU Extension Call Bill Reservation Director, who's going to share some of the work that she's been doing in collaboration with OSA as well. And then we'll have time to share. I want to, again, welcome all of you. Please introduce yourself in the Zoom chat box. We'd love to know who you are, where you're located, and what you do. We also use this chat box for asking questions, to share links and resources for the group. If you have upcoming calendar events that you want us to post, any other links that you think would be helpful, future topics that you want to suggest, or speakers, please go ahead and put those into the chat box. And just a reminder to keep yourself muted unless you have a question. And a reminder also that we are recording today. So just an update on our Facing Racism work. So we do have our study circles coming soon for the Food Systems Program team members. If any of you are interested, this should be rolling out in September. It's a 5-week series, and it's going to be facilitated by Marcy Ostrom and Kate Smith. I know Kate's on the call. I don't know if you want to share anything else, Kate, about this in particular. I know we're still just in sort of draft form of getting this together for the team, but WSU is taking on these study circles. We had about, I think, 160 or 70 people sign up within the WSU system to be able to participate. And we really want to be able to hold this space specifically for our food systems program team members as well. So if you're interested in participating in this, whether you're internal or external to WSU, please pop your name in the chat box and we will follow up with you. Kate, do you have anything else that you want to add?
Marcy's on the line as well, which is great.
Great.
And let's see, thanks for that great synopsis of that. And yeah, Marcy and I will be leading a study circle in September. And we have some folks already signed up, so thank you to those of you who already signed up. And for those of you who are interested in still joining, like Laura said, yeah, add your name in the chat box or you could email Michael Wallace to sign up as well, and then you'd get a link to sign up for our session in September. So I can put that email address in the chat box too, if that's helpful.
Great, thank you so much, Kate. Marcy, do you have anything else additional?
Well, I just wanted to add one thing logistically. These are already being organized extension-wide. So there are, I don't know, 7 different time slots being offered. And this one we thought could be particularly for food systems team members. It may be that if you already signed up, you put yourself in a different time slot. So that's also fine. But if you wanted to work together with other food systems team members in particular, you might want to change your sign up to the September slot. It's the only one in September, and that's with Kate and me. You're most welcome to sign up for any slot you'd like, but we thought we'd try to concentrate people who want to do this work over the long haul with the food systems team and that particular group, so we could, be planning for the future. Sort of build, have it be a stepping stone. So it's up to you. But if you do want to sign up, I would say sign up right away because the spaces are limited. And Michael Wallace might tell you it's full, but Kate and I can work on that September group and get a few more in, but there's not a lot of room.
Great, thank you so much. Okay, and this is the last plug I'm going to give for this survey. It ends tonight at midnight. We have about 2,500 responses, so I just want to give a huge shout out to all of you who've been pushing this out through your networks. If there's still anyone who wants to participate and take the survey, you can. Like I said, it's open until midnight tonight, and I'm really looking forward to a hub call over the next month or two where we can share the results with the University of Washington team. Just as a reminder, you have to be 18 to take the survey, and there is an opportunity to win a $50 grocery card. With so many people having applied, your chances have plummeted a little bit in terms of winning that gift card, but it's still available, and the survey is available in English and Spanish. So just a little bit about the food systems program for those of you who may not be familiar with us. We're about 3 years old. We evolved out of the small farms team as part of WSU, and we seek to work with communities throughout the state to foster viable farm businesses, optimize sustainable natural resource stewardship, and to promote scaled processing and distribution, always in the pursuit of access to healthy food for all. I'm really sorry, I have puppies in the house, so they're a little loud. This just gives an example of our reach across the state of Washington. The food systems team collaborates on initiatives that promote research, implement change, and provide unparalleled educational opportunities for farm and food system stakeholders throughout the state. We have team members pretty much located in almost every county across the state, as well as the Colville Reservation, where we have our 40 offices, 39 county offices, and our office on the Colville Reservation, as well as our campuses across the state and research and extension centers. And just another plug for the Dry-Fi program. If anyone is interested in learning more about that, please let us know. We can pop a link into the chat box to find locations across the state where you can access broadband and Wi-Fi in parking lots associated with WSU Extension offices, as well as other municipalities and utility district offices. So the WSU Food Systems Hub, the purpose of the hub is to provide a space to connect regularly with both our WSU folks as well as our external partners working across the state to support the Washington food system, to collect and update our COVID-19 resources to support the Washington food system during the pandemic, to participate in the dynamic needs assessment tool, which you can take weekly, and to provide time and space to share stories and receive support from one another. I have lost track of how many of these hub calls that we've had, but I think we're right around 16 or 17. And again, these are posted on YouTube after we've had the hub call, so you can go back and refer to them as well and refer to them to your networks and colleagues. So just a reminder of our calendar of events page. This is updated really daily with new information coming out about programs, webinars, different series that you can participate in that are related not just to COVID, but in general across the across the Washington food system. And then our needs assessment tool. This is the link here. I encourage all of you to take this weekly. It really helps us see the changing needs across the state of Washington during the pandemic. And we're really hoping to be able to use this tool not only to inform leadership across the state about needs and gaps associated with the Washington food system, but also to be better prepared in the future as we confront other disturbance events, whether it be pandemic or other types of emergency needs. So it is with a really heavy heart that I wanted to also share with all of you today about one of our most important team members and his passing, Jose Garcia Pabon. He passed away last weekend, and we wanted to just take a minute today to talk a little bit about Jose and the contributions that he has made, not only to WSU, but to the Washington food system in general. So I wanted to invite Marcy Ostrom and Kate Smith to be able to share about our colleague, Jose, They worked with him very directly. Marcy was actually the one who hired him within to WSU. So we're just going to take some time today to share about Jose and the incredible legacy that he left for all of us.
So it is with an aching heart that we honor our friend and our colleague. He was a longtime small farms and a food systems team member. Jose Garcia Pabon passed away this week after a long battle with cancer. And I first met Jose when he came out to do an interview for our new Latino community outreach position that we had created in our Department of Rural Sociology. And I still remember how impressed I was with his work throughout his life around the world. He had been a native of Bolivia, and there he worked with poor farmers. He worked in Nicaragua with poor farmers. For his dissertation, he had conducted study circles with marginalized farmers and farm workers in Minnesota, at the University of Minnesota. I was a high school student at that same time in Minnesota and didn't even know that we had migrant workers. He was already doing his dissertation research with participatory research with migrant workers. At the University of Missouri, before he came here to Washington, he led a 12-state program to serve immigrants and refugees through Extension, and this was the first time that Extension in those states had ever served those groups. Once he came here, he spent 13 years working with us, working with patience and persistence to build equitable and inclusive Extension programs. He helped co-lead our immigrant farmer programs, and all the while he patiently mentored and guided us, his colleagues, with this work. This is an unbelievable loss for our programs at WSU and for his family and for the world. When I think about what we can do to show our love and appreciation for Jose, I just hope that we can do our best to carry on with the work that he started.
Jose was full of passion for his work in Latino community studies and outreach. He led, as Marcy said, he led our work statewide to support Latino small business development, farmers across the state working in food, agriculture, and sustainability. And he led us all in cultural competency, working with Latino audiences through his workshops. He was vital to work in our Washington food systems. He was a collaborator and an advisor on projects supporting immigrant farmers across the state. He served as a board member for Viva Farms and provided Spanish interpretation at the TILT conferences, which was a lovely time to get to spend together each year. He was a leader in our university on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and represented WSU nationally in coming together for racial understanding. He has left an astounding impact on our communities and always pushed us towards a more equitable world. We will remember Jose with love and appreciation for all that he has done, and will miss him dearly.
Thank you so much, Marcy and Kate. I didn't know if there was anyone else on the call today who wanted to share a story or a thought about Jose as well. I know he touched many of our lives and was involved in a lot of this work.
This is Gwen Vernon. Sorry for the noise behind me, but yeah, I knew. This was a shocker to me. I knew Jose from I don't know how many years ago. I feel like he was just starting with WSU, but maybe not. And was really a help to me in a lot of the work that I was doing when I worked at Cascadia Consulting Group, and then later down on the Field of Watershed Initiative, and just in other places, and connecting to the Latino community, and specifically in the horticulture realm. And I just remember him kind of like what Kate and Marcy said, is just being just passionate and a mover and a shaker, and just really wanting to help. And he was super helpful. And I was looking forward to continuing conversations with him. But that's what I wanted to share.
Laura, this is Hannah. just a couple weeks ago, our CED team had an opportunity to celebrate his birthday, and at that time, you know, I had shared with him how valuable his work has been, how inspiring it has been to me personally and so many colleagues, and I had told him that you know, in his leave of absence, you know, that that his work absolutely will be, you know, it will be continued by his colleagues that have been inspired, and that we're gaining a lot of momentum around social justice issues, and that we will pick up that torch. And at the time, I really thought I was saying that to him while he was taking his leave, and surely would be able to rejoin us. You know, that was my intent around sharing that, and I'm just even more convicted that, you know, that I had shared with him that myself and his colleagues would continue his great work, and now that he you know, really has patched that torch onto us and won't be able to resume his efforts, that I feel even more convicted that myself and our fellow colleagues, and thank you, Marcy and Kate, for leading a group into September around these important topics and issues. And I would just really welcome all of us. Like, I know that it's important to so many of us, and I just hope that you'll join me in in really carrying that torch that he really ignited and sparked and worked so hard to bring to the forefront of all of our work. So thank you.
Thank you, Gwen. Thank you, Hannah.
I would just add to Hannah's sentiment that for me, I felt like my opportunity to be mentored by Jose was too short. I really appreciated how authentic and heartfelt and present he was all the time in doing his work. So he will truly be missed.
Thank you, Nicole. Yeah, my last time of being able to spend with Jose in person was actually at the Facing Racism conference, and everyone was so tired. And at the end of one of the nights, and Jose, even in the poor state of health that he was in, rallied a group of us to go out and drink beer in Leavenworth. And just the professional and personal charisma that he had and what he shared with all of us was so inspiring and amazing. And I hope that we have many more opportunities in the months and years to come to honor his legacy and the work that he did, not only within WSU, but across so many communities, really around the world, like Marcy said. So thank you all for letting us take some time to honor this incredible colleague of ours. And we're going to move on and talk about the Organic Seed Alliance now, and some of the incredible work that they're doing that I know Jose would have been thrilled to hear about, especially the MILPA project. So you can pop more of your comments and thoughts into the chat box if you'd like. And again, thank you for letting us share some time today in the Hub call to honor Jose. Okay. So I am really, really excited to welcome Organic Seed Alliance, as well as Colville Extension. Linda McLean is going to talk a little bit about some of the work that she's been doing with them. We have Cara and Micaela on the call today from Organic Seed Alliance. WSU has had a long-standing partnership with OSA, and when I was the county director in Jefferson County, where they're headquartered, I had the opportunity to do even more work with them. And I'm hoping that we continue this collaboration for many, many more years to come through the food systems program, as well as throughout WSU and the Washington food system in general. OSA has a national reach, really international reach with the work that they do. And we're really excited to have them present today on not only information about their organization, but some of the upcoming projects that they have going on. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and turn it over to Cara.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Cara Loriz, and I hope this is working. Can you see my screen? Yes, okay, great. And I'm Executive Director at Organic Seed Alliance. We have an office in Port Townsend, but we have our hub of operations here in the Northwest, down in Chimicum. We have a research farm at Thin River Farm and Cidery. So that's where we interface with the public. It's where we hold our variety trials, conduct our variety trials, our independent plant breeding projects, our collaborative plant breeding projects, and much more that, unfortunately, our program director, Micaela, is also on the call, and she'll be able to talk a lot more about our program side of things. So I'm just going to give you a brief introduction of who we are and what we do. We're still trying to get ourselves really technologically bolstered at this time. Like everyone else, our work right now is being shaped by COVID and also by our commitment to anti-racism. And so we'll talk a little bit about that, but we have great history and a lot of good partnerships. And I would say that our strength as an organization is because we have so many great partnerships, and we're able to do so much more, have a bigger impact through those relationships. So we envision an organic food supply built on a foundation of organic seed. And our mission statement is that we advance ethical seed solutions to meet food and farming needs in a changing world. And it's a lot of words, and what we're really about is connecting the whole food system to seed and the importance of seed, and to understand and raise awareness that so many of the qualities we want in our food system start with seed, whether it's flavor, nutrition, market traits, agronomic traits, all of those things. And that farmers should be empowered to be able to grow their own seed, to be able to improve crops by having good seed knowledge. And so that's the primary areas in which we work, but specifically we work in research, where we're engaging farmers, university researchers, businesses, food and farm organizations, and collaborative research. So this is not a sanitized research in any way, shape, or form. We're doing it on the farm, in the field, with farmers, and with all these other partners, so that the results of the research have already taken into consideration so many important parts of what we want from an improved food supply. Education, we do a lot of teaching of farmers to save and grow seed, conduct plant breeding, adapt crops to changing climates, environments, and market needs. We've done this through lots and lots of workshops. We did it through the conference that Laura spoke about at the beginning, which we do every 2 years. And then we were just so fortunate to be able to have ours before so many things got shut down because of the pandemic. It was a great conference, and it was also our milestone conference in our work in seed ethics, which is part of our advocacy program. And we've been working very hard at trying to have diverse and inclusive participation in our seed community, and then understand some of the areas where that hasn't happened in the past, break down those barriers, and make sure that we've got seed in the hands of everyone who should have it, and also honor some of the history and stewardship that has brought us to where we are today. Our primary advocacy areas, though, involve national advocacy on organic rules and trying to increase public support for organic systems, and specifically organic plant breeding. So we meet organic seed needs through all these different ways. One of the key ways is on-farm research, doing a lot of variety trials, looking for varieties that perform well in organic systems, have desirable traits, can resist some of the challenges we're facing. And we do this on our own farm, we do it on other farms, and we, again, try to engage as many partners as we can in the process, and particularly have a good time with tastings and understanding the evaluation of these crops. And we're able to, as so many of you, our work is so essential. It's been able to move forward during the pandemic, except we still haven't figured out how to do these group tastings. So anybody has any clues on how we can do that remotely or virtually, keep us in the loop. A little bit of our plant breeding. We've been working on multicolored carrots, and the colors are beautiful, but the agronomic traits are probably more significant, and Micaela can talk about that, about some of the resistance to challenges that carrots have. that have been bred into these particular varieties, and of course flavor being key. And this is a little tasting we had at the Port Townsend Food Co-op, one of our many partners. We're working on an Olympic sweet corn that can germinate in cool, damp soils and still give us a good crop in the summer. And we had a lot of people having fun tasting that. And then at the bottom, my personal favorite vegetable, at least for the last year or two, has been this purple sprouting broccoli that we've been working on, which started as a project to have some season extension crops, have some crops that farmers could bring to market very early in the season. And we're hoping that some of the varieties we're developing for the farmers in this region will become sort of signature regional varieties that people will recognize. Ah, yeah, that's a Pacific Northwest specialty, that purple sprouting broccoli. Just a few examples of our farmer education. We did some great dry corn trials last year, and Viva Farms was a great partner in that. And just showing how our education programs are on the farm with the crops and engaging as many people interested in seed as we can directly with the products we're working with. And then a little more on our tasting, and we have an annual community field day and tasting event. This year we're going to reconfigure it as at least a virtual field tour, and try to get some information out on the varieties that are available going forward. This was at Finn River Farm and Cidery, and we actually have partnered with another organization called Seed Linked that has tasting a program, an app that you can use. And so Amanda from the Port Townsend Farmers Market is scanning a QR code in order to pull up the menu of selections for rating the different carrots they're tasting at that table. Part of our COVID response, of course, has to be to get more information to farmers more easily, since we can't have as many in-person trainings. And so we're actively promoting our many online tools that we have. A lot of how-to guides, and we have several in Spanish. We're hoping to get more translated. We have a lot of partners that help us with that. We have a seed internship program that's been going on for years, but this year it's been really amped up into one that's got a lot of interaction online and cohorts of people new to seed growing, able to connect. You know, a lot of seed farms tend to be isolated and far apart from each other, and so to create an online cohort as folks learn about seed production. Variety trial tools, really important, particularly with climate challenges coming up, so farmers can learn how to trial several different varieties of the same crop to see which one's going to work best on their farm. We've been increasingly getting involved in helping farmers be successful economically. And so we have enterprise budget templates. We have a bunch of different just basic farm economic tracking forms in terms of understanding your labor and other, if you're going to take on a new seed project, getting that enterprise budget together. And then we also have online several webinars, and many of them are available through eOrganic, another partner at OSU. That we work with quite a bit. Another great online resource we have now is we've developed a directory of seed growers. And so if somebody is trying to source seed, and this has come up a lot during the pandemic, people haven't been able to get the seed they wanted, and they're able to go directly to seed producers. Some of them who do sell wholesale or can do special orders. And so through this seed producers directory that we have, they're able to connect people that way. And it's been a great tool. On that note, we've heard a lot from seed companies this year. It's something everyone in the food system should probably be aware of, is that there was such demand for seed this spring with the pandemic that a lot of seed companies had to shut down for periods of time in order to retain their stock seed, in order to retain their basic supply, so that when farmers need it again this winter, they will have enough to help farmers. But there are some questions out there still. We're trying to assess how we can best help with the increased demand for seed. Okay, and we always like to try to say why Northwest farmers should grow organic seed. If you're not doing your own seed work, there's a lot of benefits. It reduces your own input costs if you're able to produce some of your own seed. meets a growing demand for organic seed, and it's really expected to take off. More and more people understand that to enjoy the integrity of organic food, it should be organic, beginning with seed. And most farmers rely on some conventional seed. We study that during our every 5 years, we monitor what's happening in the organic seed movement and what farmers' needs are through the State of Organic Seed Project. We just finished a survey, and thanks to WSU for helping cross-promote that. And we'll have new information on how organic seed's being used, but the demand is growing and more people want their food grown from organic seed. Growing seed diversifies your farm business. Our climate is excellent for several of the dry seeded varieties, just because we have these lovely stretches of long dry weather here at the end of the growing season. And we don't have a lot of the commodity pressures that some growing areas have here out in the Olympic Peninsula especially. And so we don't have to worry quite as much about cross-contamination in our region here. We've been doing different things. We were planning to do this wonderful Seed Ambassadors program that Lori's aware of. We met during our conference with our European partners. That has been postponed until 2021, and we'll see how that goes, how that rolls out. But it's a wonderful program to revitalize an international seed task force focused on engaging with not just large seed companies, but getting everyone in the sustainable seed movement connected, whether you're an indigenous seed keeper or a community seed bank person, all of those different parts. We're trying to connect and create sort of a collective strength and vision for how to move forward with seed internationally. State of Organic Seed Project, we're going to have more information on that as we analyze the survey results. And we've been really fortunate to have received a donation to build a seed facility on the North Olympic Peninsula. And so we're working on all of the planning and engagement that takes. It's going to be at Fin River Farm. And we're hoping to be able to, we basically have this little footprint here for those of you who know Jefferson County at all. That's where our seed facility is going to be. And we want to see how having a facility that supports our programs in a way that makes them visible at a very public place might advance some of our work and get people better connected to seed that grows their food. We have a brief little video I can show for this, and then I'm going to turn it over to Micaela here and see if this all works. Okay.
OSA and our land partner, Fin River Farm and Cidery, are joining forces to develop a regional seed and food model that is replicable and part of a thriving agritourism and farm-to-table business, connecting consumers in the organic marketplace from seed to fork. Our innovative idea is to develop a private-public nonprofit partnership full circle system from regional crop diversification to seed production to marketing and public education that keeps seed as part of a vital rural economy and regional food system. By developing an organic seed center embedded within a vibrant agricultural business, we will create a new model to grow an organic seed supply that puts people and planet first, provides crucial resources to organic farmers, and creates deeper connections to seed, the first link in our food chain.
Okay. And that was Micaela narrating that. And so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and send it over to Micaela, or ask our hosts to do that.
Great, thank you so much, Cara. Micaela, are you ready? Can you share your screen? And again, if anyone has questions, comments, please throw those into the chat box and we'll follow up with our speakers.
Micaela, you need to unmute yourself. There you go.
Thank you. Zoom 101, you think we'd have this down by now, right? Okay, so how do I share my screen again?
There's a little tab at the bottom that says share screen at the bottom of your Zoom window.
If you put your cursor down there, you'll be able to see it maybe.
I'm down there, stop video, mute, recording. So of course it's recording all of my competencies. Stop recording. Share screen. There it is. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Uh-oh, can you hear me now?
Yep. And then you can just go into your slide view. Yep. There you go.
Okay. Thank you. You think after helping 2 young children navigate Zoom calls for school this past year, I would have this down by now, right? Well, thank you, Cara. You really gave a good overview of who OSA is and what we do, and leading into the opportunities that we have here in the county, as well as opportunities to connect for our work further across the state. Just want to acknowledge that the idea of a collaborative seed center is something that Laura and I have been bouncing around for probably close to a decade now, and thinking about how to approach such a project and what the potential layered benefits of that could be, combining some of Laura's background in germplasm conservation with OSA's expertise in entrepreneurship of seed. And so very much as we move forward on that specific project, I would love to continue exploring the interface with WSU and where there's some stacked functions in our programming that are complementary, and that we can, really develop this resource as a shared community resource, and not, just serving our internal needs per se. So with that, Cara already mentioned that we convene a national seed growers conference. Fortunately, we were able to hold the last one in February. And it was really timely, coming right before COVID. And it was, as she said, an opportunity to also take a little deeper dive into some of the ethics issues around seed, which has continued to serve as a thread in our current work. And I'm really pleased to see the WSU initiative to work together to address racism and systemic racism in our systems, right? It was great to have Laura there. I also want to mention, as Cara said, our research farm is based out here on the Olympic Peninsula, but we are a international organization. And likewise, we would love to connect more with the WSU system across Washington state. We recently submitted and have been requested or recommended for funding for a WSDA specialty crops grant to host some statewide seed summits in partnership with the Food Systems Group, with Carrie Huffman from the Columbia Basin, and working with Lindsay DuToit up in Mount Vernon with their seed expertise. So that's not an official grant yet, but I'm sharing simply as our WSU partners that our vision is to co-host those events in 2021 and 2022 with the WSU team. And so be watching for more information, and we'll be looking to you all to support the outreach efforts to ensure that we're reaching those interested in seed to participate in those events in the next couple of years, hopefully in person, but if not, we're already working with WSU to explore some online opportunities. But we really strive to serve as an organization as holding a very big umbrella in terms of the farms that we serve. And so within that, our partnerships are even more important when we're trying to serve the needs of vegetable growers, grain growers, all scales of operation. And there is a lot of emphasis on organic in our programming, in part because when you talk about seed, it's really the only regulatory framework that we have currently to identify how seed was grown and the intent of that seed. But we serve a lot of growers that are not certified organic. I just wanted to clarify that in terms of our stakeholder segment. But our programming emphasizes breeding and seed production that is low input, that does emphasize local regional adaptation, diversification of our food crops, minimizing environmental impacts in our agricultural systems, including how we grow seed. So just wanted to clarify that part of who we are. As I mentioned, we have and Laura already emphasized that we have a long history of partnering with WSU, including previously Laura and I shared a staff member who was a vegetable breeder, which is a gap in the expertise within the WSU system. And we still partner with WSU in variety trials and in plant breeding projects and education. This is Kevin Murphy from the Sustainable Seed Systems Lab, and this is photo just taken a couple of weeks ago. Fortunately, with COVID, we are, as Cara mentioned, able to continue with our field research, and we're growing out 20 different quinoa lines to showcase for the quinoa conference coming up in a couple of weeks. Other partners that we have in Washington State, and I share who some of these partners are because I'm also very interested across the state for recommendations of organizations that you think would be interested in our work or that you are working with within and outside of WSU to reach diverse stakeholders. We've been able to partner with Viva Farms for several years now, and this is Nalita, one of the farmers at Viva, who is a Oaxacan immigrant farmer, and we've been conducting corn tortilla trials with her and leaning on her expertise as a tortilla professional, as a tortilla, knowledge keeper to drive the research program. All of our research is highly participatory and farmer driven in terms of selecting the crops that we work on, but also working with the farmers to identify the goals and the traits and criteria and co-host research on farm. We work with more than 15 farmers in the western region of Washington now. As I mentioned, we'd love to connect with more growers interested in seed east of the Cascades as well. We also work nationally with networks, increasingly recognizing that when you start talking about seed, there are a lot of cultural and ethical topics that are embedded within seed, including the history and cultural significance of varieties. This year, we're partnering in a national collard trial that is being led by Seed Savers Exchange, but was initiated by Ira Wallace, one of our board members from Southern Exposure Seed Exchange in Virginia. And we've had the pleasure of partnering, we're hosting trials here, partnering with farms nationally, but also we were able to do some outreach and bring on a Black farmer in Washington State, Ebony by Nature, Melanie Edwards, who's working with us on the trial and also working with us as a partner to do more outreach to invite and partner with more BIPOC farmers in Washington State to build more of a statewide seed network. The trials will also be at Mudbone Farm in Portland, which is a Black farming collective near the city, and also with OSU. So looking forward to the results of that. This is Farmer Melanie, who we're partnering with. Melanie's also working with us to develop some outreach to target BIPOC growers within Washington and Oregon who are interested in seed, and work with them to do a more sensitive evaluation of the educational needs, of the infrastructure needs, the barriers to entry into seed growing, and develop more of a seed growers network working with these communities. So Melanie and I co-presented at the Back to the Roots conference in February, right before COVID. And from that event, started developing a contact list of Black farmers within the Northwest interested in seed, and have continued to build that contact base and have developed a survey of needs that we've disseminated and have 16 responses so far from the Black farmers in that network group. And so I would be happy to share that survey link and follow up on any recommendations of other organizations that are reaching and working with Black farming communities, or even individual growers. If you have recommendations of anyone we should reach out to directly to solicit their input into this assessment of needs. This is this year's version of our research farm in Chimacum, Washington, that Cara spoke a little bit about earlier. And I shared this in part to say, while we work across the state, this location does give us the opportunity to convene people. And Cara already highlighted some of the benefits of being able to bring farmers together in an educational environment to teach. And a lot of our programming has leaned on these on-farm trainings and networking events, which I'm sure, like all of you, we're now exploring what is feasible in the era of COVID and opting for some virtual online tours and variety trial education. But also I'd be very interested in any innovative approaches that you all are working on. I know that there's some that are starting to merge with the Cascadia Grains Conference that integrate some opportunities for, you know, tasting and food education from a virtual management perspective. But if anyone has any good tips or tools that they've learned and how to navigate online engagement, we'd be pleased to share. This is the visual actual footprint of where this beautiful seed center is going to sit. It's only about 110 feet long by 40 feet wide. It's an old milking barn trough, that milking barn footprint that will be developing into a space for our operations, as well as for some shared education and access to resources to serve seed growers. And in light of that, as Cara mentioned, we're also disseminating a survey of needs. We have about 50 farmers who have responded so far, but I would be grateful if we could follow up this call with a little email to all of you to help disseminate this survey to your grower networks and solicit more input. While the survey is assessing how best to use this physical space at Finn River, it also includes a lot of questions that are focused on capturing scale and crop interest and training needs and opportunities. So I would say that the survey is very relevant to growers that are not necessarily just on the Olympic Peninsula or within a physical proximity of being able to access this infrastructure resource. So the link is in here that you could feel free to cut and paste from and disseminate. But if you'd like more of a tailored email to share with your constituents, please follow up with me after this call.
Micaela, I was going to say too, we can also drop the link in the chat box too. Maybe Cara can put it in the chat box while you're presenting, and then people can grab it and send it on
great.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're welcome to go into it yourself and just see what the list of questions are there to ensure that it's appropriate for your audience too. I'd greatly appreciate that. So just, I'm not going to share too much of the preliminary results, but just to say that there is an interest in a wide diversity of crop types, including dry seed, wet seed, herbs, flowers, grains, cover crops. And we're very fortunate in Washington State to have a climate where we're able to produce seed of a wide diversity of crops. And we have heard that over time, and this is a repeating theme, that as growers want to enter into seed production, sometimes they don't know what kind of equipment they might need in order to enter into that opportunity. And then if they are growing, in order to scale up, there's often sort of a ceiling of their capacity and ability to scale up based on access to equipment. So part of this survey is really trying to get a handle on the scales of the producers interested in seed, what appropriate scaled tools would help them expand and or enter into production. And I know we want to have some time to check in with Linda as well. So I'm just going to mention a few of the COVID response steps that we've taken at OSA, including we're on this call in part because our name came up in one of the previous WSU Food Systems calls in regard to how to best respond to COVID. And as an organization, we don't generally distribute seed. We work with farmers that grow and sell seed, but we're not really seed in the seed sales sector or even distribution. But in response to COVID, as Cara said, there's been a lot of seed shortages and a lot of need for local food security, just people being able to grow seed to eat and grow food to eat and make sure that they have access to healthy nutrition with so many unknowns in food distribution that we've been facing in light of the pandemic. And so we have distributed seed through National Seed Drive, as well as, you know, initiatives like our local school gardens. Again, this isn't what we normally do, but we are living in unprecedented times. And as we were pleased to connect with Linda from WSU Food Systems from the Colville Tribe and brainstorm around how to best support her outreach efforts to reach tribal members and get some food being grown in their gardens, on their farm, whatever scale they're at. A lot of her work is focused on just access to nutrition. And since we were meeting in July and there are not a lot of crops that you can, you know, you're limited in what you can do successfully at that time of year, we chose to focus on some summer greens mix that could be just quick response, quick nutrition, and then follow up with some, you know, cooking and harvesting education to support them. And this idea was actually the MILPA seed project concept was suggested by Valerie Seacrest, who had supported a similar initiative in the Southwest region of the US. It's a traditional method of Southwest tribes where a wide diversity of seed is mixed with a high organic matter substance, a sort of humic acid substance, and then broadcast for food production. So it's sort of a easy barrier, you know, low barrier to entry, low work involved, low technological gardening expertise needed in order to grow something that you can eat, by the strategy being to have a wide diversity of species and then a sort of, you know, evolutionary survival of the fittest approach to gardening, which took a while for Linda and I both to wrap our minds around, given our own agricultural training and bias of farming and gardening and how you do it. But nevertheless, we're excited to partner in the project. We put together a mix of about 11 different varieties, sourced the seed, sent it to Linda. I did some, you know, took the number crunching on the math of what percentage of the seed would be appropriate for different species to mix. And we sourced some organic matter that she is now combining the seed in a proportional recipe with the organic matter and distributing to her stakeholders on the Colville tribe. And she's going to give a little bit more of an update on that effort. As Cara said, there's also a lot of opportunities to expand seed production, especially given COVID, but not only from the demand side, but we're hearing that a lot of growers, including farmers at Viva Farm, are struggling with reaching direct markets and seeing the kind of farmers market sales numbers that they're used to. And more growers that are facing that challenge are looking at the opportunity of contract seed production as something that they can do during COVID on their farm without limiting interface with the public. And so we're assessing how to best support the connection between the seed, those interested in growing seed, and the seed companies that provide contracts for small scale growers, and how to facilitate those relationships. And anticipate we'll have more webinars on that for relationship building in the next 6 months here. And fortunately, we did have this online education already in the works. We have a matching program where host farms that are seed growers solicit for bringing interns onto their farm, and then the interns sort of like a match.com for interns and seed growers online. And then as they're placed on farms, they have access to this online seed production education that is managed as a cohort of interns, so that they have a lot of peer learning opportunities amongst the participants. And this is a project in partnership with Mesa in California and Rhizobia and Farmer Campus, some different online organizations in education that are California based, but there's national participation, and we have at least 3 farms in Washington State participating. So with that, I'm going to make sure we have a little, want to cut myself off so we have more time for questions and some discussion. I'd love to hear from you all of opportunities that you see or needs that you see around seed that we might be able to meet.
Great, thank you so much, Micaela. And I know we have Linda on the call as well, and I want to just invite her to provide some more information about the project that she's working on with you all at Organic Seed Alliance.
Thanks, Laura, and thanks, Micaela. I am really excited about this project. Like Micaela said, it was kind of hard to wrap our heads around the fact that we mix a bunch of seeds with some fertilizer and then just throw it on the ground and it forms a blanket and grows. Well, we're used to row crops and thinking of a messy garden and how are we going to keep the weeds out and how are we going to identify that. So it's been a little bit tricky, and this has taken a little bit longer than I had anticipated, but it's doable because we're sorting the seeds out and putting them in individual bags to get out to people. But since I deal with a lot of beginning gardeners, they don't know how to prep the soil. They don't know how to plant anything. They have difficulty identifying and differentiating weeds from the actual sprouted plants. So we feel we need to give out some education along with this. So we're creating a little handout to hand out to people when we give the seeds out. So I'll share my screen to show you the poster that we've created just to kind of go along with this.
And Micaela, you made it. Yeah, Micaela, you need to stop sharing your screen.
Oh,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah, Linda can share hers. There we go.
That works.
Yeah, Linda, we've planted individual cells of each seed too, so we should be able to provide you more photos soon, but I'm excited to see your poster.
Okay, good. Yeah, so it's still in draft form. Like I said, it's taken a little bit more time than I had anticipated just because we want to make sure that everybody's successful. But we put on, you know, of course, the logos. We're going to give two options because not everybody will be able to grow a full 4x8 foot garden bed. We're giving a container option too, just because I had large containers available. So we'll give out a seed packet along with the container and along with the potting soil. I have a grant through NAF, Native American Agricultural Fund, and that's what's really helping support this project. And that's actually how we heard from Valerie. She works with NAF too. I believe she's a representative on the NAF board. So anyway, we have a grant to support this. So what my original plan was to help people develop community gardens this spring. Well, with COVID, that interrupted our plans. And when we were on this hub call and we talked about this, we thought, gosh, this would be a quick way to get gardening happening this year, plus some food production, plus it's salad, you know, it's green, so it's healthy, it's delicious. And then we can provide some education, like Micaela stated, about how to prepare it, harvest it, and prepare it afterwards. Because some of these things we're not familiar with, like, I think it was orac. I had no idea. I had to look that one up. And it's a type of spinach. So, you know, it's similar to spinach. So that'll be great because people do like spinach, but we've never heard of that. There's, I think you can see here, I don't know if I can enlarge that. These are what's actually in the packets. Can you read that?
Yeah, it looks
So
good.
those are the ingredients that are actually in the mix. And then just for information, it's super expensive to get the fertilizer shipped. So if you have opportunity to do this program, maybe start ahead and figure out how to travel to get that or work with somebody to get it. But which is no problem. You know, it wasn't a big deal, but it's just like, oh, the guy said, "Are you sure you want me to ship this?" And I said, "That's the only way I can get it, ship it." He was really helpful. So, but yeah, we're really looking forward to this. So we've developed this poster and we'll hopefully get this out to people. And since we have COVID, we can't do any in person. Ordinarily, I would have a garden workshop. We would meet with people. We would do some hands-on activities and show them how to plant and how to grow things, but we're not able to do that. So we're going to have kind of a drive-through opportunity. So they'll have to come drive through, and like I said, they have grant dollars. So we're going to provide, you know, a rake or a soaker hose or a garden hose or something to help make it successful. And I've even developed a survey that they have to do before they can access the seed, so that we can get some information from them on their experiences of having grown gardens before, what their experience is or is not, how they use vegetables, how often they eat produce. that type of thing, how many people they're going to serve, what they're going to do with this produce once it's grown. And then the idea is to follow up with another survey afterwards. And then I'm hoping that after they've grown their garden and then we get into the fall, I can provide some kind of row covers to protect this, because then we can move into fall gardening as well, because I don't want them to lose out, because I think a lot of this is cut and come. You can cut some of the spinaches, you can cut some of the lettuces, and they'll keep growing back. And so I'm hoping that some will do that, and they'll continue to harvest some greens into the fall. So that's our plan on that. And then this back page of it is the basic instructions. And because like I said, we can't just hand out anything. And if you guys see anything on here that's not right, please let me know, because I don't want to give misinformation. But we've given information on how they can come and access the seed packets. We've given information on how to plant it. I don't know if I can make that go down any further so you can see that.
You might just be able to move your space bar on the side to scan down.
I was trying to, I can't access that with this people box here. Maybe I can do this though. There we go. So, and like I said, I've been very conscientious about our partnership, because this is a partnership with Organic Seed Alliance. They did donate the seeds and give us the expertise on the seeds and the product. So we recognize them here. And then for more information, but this is just general information on how to prepare their site, what they need to look out for, remove all the rocks. And then this is, what was I going to put here? Oh, I wanted to put pictures here. So for them to identify what the actual product looks like when it grows, because the idea is they need to this is going to be a blanket of green in their garden bed or their pot. The pots won't be a problem as much, but the garden bed will have weeds coming up, because we have a lot of weeds in our local home areas. The soil isn't always the best. And so I want them to be able to not go out and pick something and think this is a lettuce or a green, and it's actually kochia or mallow or some awful tasting weed. So that's the idea for these next pages. So that's what our plan is. And so hopefully it's going to be successful, because I think it's a really great opportunity to access some different types of greens and get these in the hands of the people. And Micaela had asked if I could work with other tribes across the state, which I've already talked to a couple. And that's not an issue, because I do FERTEP work, Federally Recognized Tribes Extension Program work. So I have resources that I can reach out, and colleagues in that program that I can reach out, as well as WSU has the statewide tribal liaison, and that's Dan Fagerly. I can work with him to make the contacts with the tribes if we need to, and then just get that sent to them directly, and then they can plant it and try it as well. So I'm looking forward to this project. I miss gardening. I have food sovereignty workshops every year in the spring, and have hands-on education for people to learn how to garden and grow. And I really miss it this year.
It's just so inspiring to see all of you just take this and run with it after we had, I think it was in early June, where we had Valerie from NAF and then Nora Frank from the Northwest Portland Indian Health Board present. And this idea came up, and I am really inspired not only by all of you collaborating to get this project up and running, but the potential to be able to expand it over the coming months to more communities across the state. I think it's a great project, and I know Valerie's got to be thrilled as well to see that this is moved forward. And I think NAF is such a great partner in terms of the funding structure as well. Like you said, Linda, being able to have some of those resources available to help support the project. I'd love to open it up for questions and any other comments that people have. Specifically related to Organic Seed Alliance, as well as the Salad Bowl MILPA Seed Blanket project that's going on. So you can put them in the chat box. You can go ahead and just speak up.
I have a follow-up question. This is Kate Smith. Linda and Micaela, I'm just thinking about timing and your thoughts on this. I recently connected after that same hub call. I was able to connect with the Swinomish and the two people on staff who are leading their food and farming programs there and garden programs. And I'm just wondering whether there's still time this season, in thinking about Linda, all that you've done, all the work that's gone into prepping this and getting it out. Is there still time this season to roll that out, say here, if there's interest for it, or would we plan for next season?
I think in your area, if we moved quickly, that it wouldn't be too late. I mean, I think the heat tolerant greens can be planted through August, and then especially if you have access to any kind of row cover, like Linda was saying, then we don't get the hard cold that they get quite as early. They get a little hotter in the summer, but I think they get a little bit colder quicker. And so there's a lot of these greens that, we try to pick things like spinach is, it'll just bolt in the middle of the summer, but the orac is a heat tolerant alternative. And, if we have a little bit of budget, the easiest, fastest thing would be to just buy by the ounce from a couple different Northwest-based seed companies and support those small seed companies. But I'd be happy to help you, Kate, if you wanted to kind of think about, I'd be happy to share the recipe mix that we came up with. Again, Linda and I just talked about this. It's like, okay, this is a pilot project. I'm making guesses about, like, relatively looking at the seed count and the seed count per weight, how much, lettuce to orac do you want to not just have a blanket of orac out there at the end of the year or at the end of the planting. So I'd be happy to help you if you want to explore what's possible and share the resources. We already did a lot of the groundwork, it's just a little bit, you might want to have a little bit of volunteer opportunity to help. I don't know how long it took you, Linda. I can only imagine scooping each of those seeds into a bag with all those ingredients. I know that was no small task.
And that isn't the bad part. It's the small pinch, medium pinch, large pinch for the pot, the container.
Well, yeah, for that size, you're talking about lettuce, you can't weigh out, so many seeds per ounce. Well, you need this many grams of it for everyone. I had to figure out something that would be calibrated enough to just mix it together and go. There's a feasibility in the science balance, right?
And I'm a person of one right now, so I'm working from home doing that myself. So getting volunteers would be optimal for that.
Yeah. And maybe that's something that we could, go ahead.
Sorry, Linda and I also talked about so we just picked this mix because it is the middle of summer, but if it does take off and there's enough interest, then we could certainly be thinking about some other ingredients for for spring salad, or for things that aren't just salad, that are, squash and bean and corn garden or something like that next spring.
Yeah, that's just what I was going to say and I'd be happy to work with anyone who wants to on this and plug in with you all at OSA, but maybe come up with a catalog of potential seed varieties and the seasonality of them. And maybe even, who you could source from. I would love to be able to work with all of you to kind of make sure that there's additional information for other communities that might want to participate, and maybe look at it from a regional perspective across the state, knowing that the Colville tribe is located in, north central Washington, northeastern Washington, where it's very different than what we have in the Northwest. So like Kate wanting to work in Skagit County, it's very different growing conditions than what we see in other parts of the state. So, but I think this has a tremendous amount of potential. And like you were all saying, it's not rocket science. You're pinching seed and putting them together and trying to create this wonderful mix with nutrition that will provide a food blanket. And so hopefully we don't have to make it too complicated. Other questions, comments? Okay, well, you can always put them in the chat box. We have, and again, we've recorded the session, so you can go back and refer to it if you need to. And we are going to just open it up for discussion and time to share. So if anyone has anything else that they'd like to share, programs that they have coming up, interesting stories and experiences that they've gone through over the last few weeks that they'd like to share with the group, please let us know. You can either pop something into the chat box or you can go ahead and just speak up.
Or can I just follow up on one thing about the study circles?
Yes, please.
So I think we forgot to say that they were primarily envisioned as being for extension faculty and staff internally, but there have been some requests for WSU volunteers like from Esther Gardner and 4-H, and so we can try to make the case for food systems team members along the same lines. But I just wanted to say, if we can't fit you in, let's keep the names, and seeing all this interest, maybe we can do something specifically for a food systems team also, if we can't get everybody in.
That sounds great. I would love to find a way to be able to support that if we're constrained by resources and being able to just do internal faculty and staff right now from WSU. I think that we can definitely find a way to expand this to include external team members and even those people who are just plugging in every single week to our hub calls that want to participate that may not be formal members of the team, but have become great partners for our program.
Yeah, seeing all this interest makes me really think we might want to do more things down the road, so stay tuned.
Anything else anyone would like to share? I know that I wanted to just put a plug in for the USDA and the WSDA notice that came out a couple days ago about foreign seeds. And I don't have the link to share right now. I could probably put it into the chat box, but for anyone who is hearing about people receiving seed, particularly from China, the USDA APHIS organization, which is the quarantine organization, Animal Plant Health Inspection Service of the USDA, has a mailing address that you can send all of those mysterious seed packets to so that they can test them. And they recommend not opening them, not handling them, just popping them in the mail and sending them off. So hopefully everyone saw that notice come out. If you didn't, you can go to the USDA website. And again, I'll try to pop that into the chat box. Any other announcements that anyone wants to make?
This is Gwen with my TILP Alliance hat on. I just maybe a general announcement that the TILP conference will be a save the date going out for the TILP conference next week, hopefully, along with watch out for requests for presentations. We're doing the TILP conference virtually this year in November, 2 days, and 2 afternoon, evening, different structure. So yeah, watch out for the RFP that's coming out, and we'll probably be in touch with some of you on this call for to ask, see if you want to do some presenting as well.
Great, thanks, Gwen.
I'll tag on to Gwen's TILF related announcement with my farm walk hat on and let everyone know that we are also pivoting the Farm Walk series to be a podcast this year for the 2020 season. And we're going to be using the same farm hosts that we had dreamt up for our on-farm farm walks, but instead we'll be having some interviews recorded with them along with other resource providers, and all of that being edited and will be on a brand new bright and shiny Farm Walk website as well. So keep an eye out for more announcements about that. And there is going to be opportunity for anyone, whether you're a farmer or not, to submit questions and promote different content for the episodes. So there will also be opportunities to engage that way.
Great, thanks, Nicole. I wanted to just share with all of you that our next hub meeting will be with the Eat Local First Collaborative, which WSU is proud to be a part of. So we'll have several folks from the collaborative talking next week about the statewide food and farm landing page, which is developed to search multiple databases to access food and farm business information across the state, with the hopes of eventually we're still waiting to hear about an LFPP grant that would help us create one state directory, really combining all of these regional efforts into one large directory. So we're going to be talking about that next week. And then I also wanted to confirm that on the 14th, we're going to have Colleen Donovan and Jennifer Antos, I believe it is, from the Washington State Farmers Market Association and the Seattle Neighborhood Markets Association, talking about farmers markets during COVID and what's happening. So we're really pleased to have them on the call for August 14th. If you're interested in having your organization present in one of our hub meetings, please just let us know. We can get you lined up with one of these upcoming Fridays. If you have a topic that you want to hear about, please let us know as well. I know that we're going to be reaching out and talking about meat in the coming months or month as well. That's something that we've talked about, having a deep dive into WA Meetup and what's happening across the state in terms of access to processing. And again, any other topics that you want to hear about, please let us know. We're happy to be able to put them up here. I have some announcements too. Marissa, as their launch from Sustainable Connections, they're launching their Eat Local Month in Northwest Washington tomorrow. It's a virtual farm tour, farm stand loop promoting restaurants, farmers markets, and it will be all month long. You can find the link. And then Gwen just added to that as well, the Eat Local First Washington landing page. She put that link up there as well. And you should see a lot of that information coming out on our website this week as well. We're still getting that up to date. And Pat just wanted to remind everyone that Cascadia Grains is also going virtual. So it is, and we'll probably have an update in the coming month or so from Abba. She's out on the road right now, actually filming some of the speakers that will be participating in Cascadia Grains, as well as wearing her other hat as an intern this year for Organic Seed Alliance. So she's also supporting some of their programming right now as well. So we're really excited to see what she's coming up with and to share that content with you in the months to come.
Yeah,
and then just
Abba is Venn diagramming so hard. Right
and
now.
I also want to just put a plug in for the International Quinoa Research Symposium, which is going to be August 17th, 18th, and 19th. I can't believe August is tomorrow. You can register for free. Hopefully Nicole can grab a link to that and just drop it in the chat box where I'm talking right now. Thank you, Nicole. And that's a free conference. It was going to be several $100s to participate in that. It was supposed to be located out on the Olympic Peninsula. It's gone completely online. We have been just so excited about bringing this virtual conference to all of you. We've been recording speakers. It's going to be super dynamic and really our beta test or pilot of what it's going to be like to have a virtual conference. So again, that's coming up in just less than 3 weeks now. And like I said, it's free to register and participate in that. And we have speakers really from all over the world. So I've been really excited to see how this is coming together. And again, just really thankful for our team and dealing with the differing logistics. I really want to thank our guests today as well. It was such an honor to have Organic Seed Alliance and Linda McLean from the Colville Reservation and the WSU Extension Program talk to us today about their programs. If you need further information, please let us know, and you can go back and refer to this recording as well to get some of that information. It's going to be live on our YouTube channel sometime over the next day or so. And just a reminder to take the NAT, the needs assessment tool, and send it out to your networks as well, so we can get that information and use it to help support the Washington food system. If there's anything else that anyone would like to share, you can go ahead and speak up now or throw it in the chat box. Otherwise, we will sign off. Well, thanks everyone and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Laura.
Thanks, Laura. Thanks, Nicole. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.